It is not often we see a new distribution model. Please welcome Ashwin Kamlani of About Anywhere.
How are you? Thanks for joining us today. We've got a lot to cover, so I'm going to jump right in. My name is Ashwin Kamlani. I'm the CEO of AboutAnywhere.com. This is Martha Valdivia, who's going to drive. I started out in the technology consulting area with Anderson and PwC, and then went to do a master's at Cornell in the hotel business. And then I worked for a company called Sol Melia Hotels and Resorts, and worked my way up from intern to global VP of distribution and handling everything from third-party online travel agency relationships to direct distribution for the company. And I was approached about a year and a half ago by two investors who wanted to start a new company and radically change the online travel agency. And so before I get into explaining what we're doing at AboutAnywhere.com, what I'd like to do is explain a little bit about why we're doing what we're doing. And I know this is a very sophisticated audience. You all know the history. This is really going to lay the foundation for our business model. Now, pre-1996, as you know, most of reservations were coming in through travel agents. Everybody was earning 10% per booking. You had wholesalers out there that were earning a lot more, but they were really selling through their network of travel agents, and so they needed those higher margins. Now, in 1996, Travelocity and Expedia are born. First thing Travelocity does is they just plug right into Sabre, make all that content and booking capability available to the public, and so they quickly become the market leader. And Expedia is also born the same year as part of MSN as the travel channel. Fast forward to 2000, Expedia comes out and makes the bold move of acquiring two wholesalers. Suddenly the margins go from 10% to 25%, and they quickly take the lead. Other OTAs say, hey, you know, that's a really good idea. They start to follow the business model, and many other OTAs start to emerge. Fast forward to 2005, a lot of tension starts to build between the OTAs and the hotel industry. We've struggled through 2001, September 11th. Most of the OTAs have now consolidated into the big four, Expedia, Travelocity, Orbitz, and Priceline. And these four companies start to become a very important part of the business for these hotels. The hotels start asking, why are we paying 25% margins to these companies when they're selling directly to the consumer? Since it's not going through travel agents anymore, most of it anyway. So hotels start learning these bookings are really expensive. You know, I'm going to start trying to do things to sell more directly. I'm going to keep last rooms for my own site. I'm going to start offering prepaid discounted rates on my own hotel site. And basically the OTAs retaliate by forcing the hotels to include in their contracts last room availability, rate parity, etc. So the OTAs realize that hotels are fighting against each other to get higher up in the search results in their destination. There's a value that can be placed on these positions. And so they start to use that as currency to enforce their rules and tell the hotels, you got to give us last room availability, you've got to give us rate parity, and if you don't, we're going to drop you to page 3 or 4. So now we fast forward to 2009. AboutAnywhere.com is introduced. It's been almost 10 years since we've seen a major innovation in this space. You know, we're in a worldwide economic recession. Hotels are looking for alternatives. They're really focusing on revenue management, and they've basically got two options. Either I can sell directly as much as possible, or I can sell through these third-party online travel agencies and pay a very hefty margin. Consumers, as you've seen the research, are kind of fed up with the fact that booking online is very impersonal. There's really no difference between booking with any of these OTAs. And if you ask the consumer who's still booking with a traditional travel agent, why aren't you booking online? They're going to tell you, well, you know, I know my travel agent's going to just take a little bit of extra special care of me, which I know I'm not going to get from those OTAs. You know, I'm going to get to the room, there's going to be something special waiting for me, and I really don't want to let that go. So people miss that. So we're here to help. AboutAnywhere.com was built by hoteliers for hoteliers. Our mission is to make each booking more profitable for hotels and more personalized and valuable for consumers. So we're really trying to focus on solving two major issues here in the industry. The first thing we're going to do is start working with a 10% margin. Now I know what you're thinking. Probably you're saying, you can't run an OTA with 10% margins. Well guys, remember that for years and years, people have run successful travel agencies on 10% margins, and they've been profitable in doing that. And Booking.com has done it over in Europe, and there's no reason that someone can't do it here in the US. Now, all of our technology is done overseas, so we've eliminated those costs. We don't have these teams of market managers because our model doesn't require enforcement of rules. People actually want to give us last room availability. And so we actually have some hotels contacting us and telling us, we really believe in what you're doing so much that we're going to go out and recruit the other hotels in our destination to come and work with you. And that tells me something. That tells me we've hit on something that works for the industry. And also the smaller margin that we use means that smaller hotels, bed and breakfast, family-owned hotels can work with us when they really can't work with the other channels because they're just too expensive to work with. So do we offer the same services as the other OTAs? Well, we have an extranet. We're connected to major channel management software. We announced last week that we're connected with Easy Yield. We offer dynamic credit card payments to the hotels. And basically what we're doing is we're taking the traditional 10% model from the travel agencies and combining that with the merchant model. Why would a customer shop with you? And that's typically the question we get. Well, we actually don't make money off the hotel margin, and that's what really makes our model unique. We've taken the OTA model and just turned it on its head. So we take the money that we earn from the hotels and reinvest that back into the consumer through purchasing agreements that we've made with several of these brands that you see here. So just to give you a quick example, you might get a business traveler booking a trip to New York, and 4 or 5 nights in New York could cost you $1,600, $2,000. They could get a call from us saying, look, as a thank you for booking with us, we're going to send someone to the airport, pick you up, and take you to your hotel on us, free of charge. And we've tested this out, and it's really just blows people away. And I know a lot of you are saying, yeah, but well, is that scalable? Well, the truth is that we have other benefits that can be automated, and the higher the value of the booking, the better the benefit we can give back to the consumer. And people are really amazed by this quality. So how do we make money? Well, if you take a look at the traditional OTA layout, and you see that hotels are listed, and as I mentioned earlier, this can be used as currency. These are valuable positions. Hotels are fighting against each other to get these positions, and the OTAs use this as a carrot to get the hotels to give them exclusive deals, discounts, added values. And so what we've done is we've taken a look at the way Google has monetized these positions, which is basically, look, you want to be in one of these higher positions, you pay for that. You bid against each other. The person that pays per click highest is going to show up in the highest position. So we've combined these two ideas. And you'll see that AboutAnywhere.com is the same way. So the hotels that show up higher up in the search results are paying to be there per click, and they love it because the more bookings they get from us, they're only paying 10% for those bookings. Now, hotels can fund their budgets in two ways. They can either use a credit card, just like in Google, or they can say, many hotels have said to us, look, instead of 10%, take 15%, or even take 20%, and use the extra margin to fund my pay-per-click advertising budget, and I'm going to control where my hotel shows up. In the lower right corner, you'll see that we have Twitter feeds in our site. This is very unique. Any hotel that has a Twitter account, which is becoming more and more popular, those Twitter feeds show up not only in the hotel profiles, but in the destination searches, so consumers can actually use that information for their purchasing decisions. To sum it up, you take these traditional OTA or even offline wholesale models, and you combine that with eBay's mentality of getting rid of as many intermediary costs as possible. You let the hotels create their own profiles, just like someone can in Facebook. You use the Google advertising model instead of the way the traditional OTAs have it, and you integrate Twitter feeds, and then you add added values for the consumers, and that's where you get AboutAnywhere.com's model. Won't we be crushed by the competition? Well, right now the competition is so busy trying to crush each other. They're eliminating all their consumer booking fees, and we don't have any consumer booking fees, by the way. And the supplier is there's been really no benefit from the supplier about what's going on. So why can't they just copy us? Well, the OTAs have such high overhead. The way they've built this army of market managers around the world, which may have been necessary 8 years ago to train the hotels how to use the extranets, but today it's really not that necessary. Again, their high margins means they need people to enforce their rules with the hotels, whereas with us, the hotels really want to give us the last room availability. And for any OTA to copy what we've done, they would really have to just restructure their entire business and fire half their staff and frankly, cannibalize their core business. These are some of the hotel chains that are already working with us. We've spent the last year really developing major, strong relationships with these chains. And so you can see the industry has really embraced what we're trying to do. Are we finished? Absolutely not. We're still growing our hotel portfolio and our brand relationships with the consumer brands. We're going to revise all of our website search capability to bring in some really unique and innovative capabilities. We're going to eventually add flights, packages, and other related services. And we're constantly looking for ways to attract consumers. Right now, we're looking for a strategic partner or an investor. The ideal situation would be we tie up with a travel site that is not an OTA, that has a lot of travel-related traffic, and that can capitalize on all of the relationships and contracts we now have in place and technology to better monetize their traffic. And that's it.
Ashwin Kamlani of
Thank you.
About Anywhere.